Buenos días, buenas tardes o buenas noches, Josh, a las 2:30 de la mañana. You know that that's when you're doing this, right, Josh? ¿Qué día es hoy? Hoy es lunes. ¿Qué clase es? Es la clase 33. Just a little heads up. We skipped a class in an attempt to make up for the time that we got taken away the week between face-to-face classes and online classes, and so in an attempt to make that up, I skipped the class that would have been a review game. So instead of being clase 32, if you're paying attention to that kind of thing, this is clase 33. Moving on to lección 11, we've got 2 more chapters before the end of the semester. So what we would have done in a normal class setting, as you know, is we would have cambiar de compañeros. You would have found a new person, nuevos compañeros, nuevos escritorios. You would have found somebody with whom to conversar por 3 o 4 minutos. So go ahead and hit the pause button, and I would like you to work through some of those questions, at least half, okay? You're going to have your finger on the pause button a lot because I'm going to ask you to be pausing it from time to time. And go ahead and do that now. Okay, so lección 11 is about, we're going to be talking about how you command people to do things. You'll also notice as you look at your vocab, for lección 11, it has to do with tecnología. I always think it's a ridiculous thing for textbooks to do that because the minute it's printed, it's out of date. You'll find as we go over some vocab today, top left box, you're going to find that a lot of that stuff is like, when's the last time I used a disco compacto kind of thing? Everybody downloads their music, it's all digital. Yes. Nonetheless, when you do some stuff on Panorama, they're going to ask you to know some of those words. So I'm going to ask you to learn those words as well. The bonus, the good news, is that these 2 far right boxes that have to do with el carro, top left, top right, middle right, we're going to keep the bottom one, but notice if you can see I have big X's through those. We're not going to do it. I'm not going to quiz you over it. Don't completely black it out because if those words are used in the Panorama activities, you're going to want to reference it, but I am not going to quiz you over it. I'm not going to ask you to know those words. So that's a good thing. But commands. How common are commands? Think about how many times already today that you probably commanded somebody to do something or somebody commanded you to do something. You don't really think about it as commands, but that's what they are. When somebody tells you wake up, when somebody tells you eat breakfast, when somebody tells you don't touch me, those are all commands. And they are plentiful in your own vocabulary, but they're plentiful also in Scripture. I'm just going to share with you this verse from Micah. He was a prophet who was trying to summarize all of the law for the Israelites who had been under a lot of, law-abiding lifestyles. And everything, every time you turned around, there was another law. And so he kind of streamlined those, and he took it down to 3 things. He says, in English, he says, the translation in English says, what does the Lord require of you? And then he just boiled it down to 3 different things, and they're on your screen right there. Haz justicia, ama misericordia, camina humilde con tu Dios, with your God, actually. So notice that it's the 3 commands that use verbs that we've already had before. Do, justice. Haz justicia. Looks a little bit like the verb hacer, does it not? A little bit. Ama, misericordia. We had amar, last vocab. Love, mercy. Mercy is that big long word for misericordia. Y camina, see the little guy with his legs walking. Humilde, walk humbly with your God. Not only in our scripture passages, but also in our prayers, if you think about it, we have a lot of times where we are commanding God to do certain things. So think about prayers that you have prayed. This is a song that's in a prayer that's in the form of a song, actually, and it's in English as well. Cambia mi corazón. Here's the first words to that. So there's a little bit of an extra part to that, but cambia mi corazón. Change my heart. We had the verb cambiar, last vocab. Hazlo fiel a ti. Make it faithful to you. If you remember on the previous slide, haz justicia, do justice, right? So make it faithful to you. Cambia mi corazón, change my heart. Quiero estar en ti. It's a song that you're probably familiar with. Kind of goes like this. Cambia mi corazón, hazlo fiel a ti. Cambia mi corazón, quiero estar en ti. If you remember that, it's kind of an old praise and worship song. There's another little part of that that goes like this. I'm going to move my face out of the way. Hang on. Tú el alfarero, yo el barro soy. Hazme de nuevo, te lo pido hoy. And then it goes back to cambia mi corazón, hazlo fiel a ti. Cambia mi corazón, quiero estar en ti. Let's look back to the part a la derecha there, what we just talked about. So you are the potter, alfarero, referring to God in that metaphor of the fact that he is a potter, he's shaping us and molding us. Yo el barro soy. Well, if he is the potter, that makes me the clay. I, the clay, am. Hazme de nuevo, just like hazlo over there a la izquierda. Make it faithful. Now it's make me like new. Make me new again. Te lo pido hoy. I ask it to you today. Notice the double object pronoun there that we learned before. I ask it to you today. That's what I'm asking you, God. I'm asking you to change my heart. Now, at first glance, it would appear that in our prayers, and if you think about what you prayed today, chances are you prayed a command. You were telling God what to do. That's what we do with commands. We boss people around. If we had like person-to-person class this chapter, there would have been all kinds of, whoever you've chosen as your partner, you'd have been bossing them around. You'd been given all kinds of commands, telling them what to do. In our prayers, we do the same thing, if you think about it. We're always telling God, hey, God, do this, do this. It sounds very selfish, does it not? It sounds very self-serving. It sounds very egotistical. It sounds very self-focused. However, I do believe that there are times that God is calling on us to command him, that he wants us to do, he wants us to ask him to do the things that he wants to do that are in his will for our lives as well. To ask him to change my heart, it's one of those things that I feel like is a dangerous prayer. Am I really willing to say, change my heart, God? Am I really, really willing to ask him to make me faithful, to make me like new? Here's a potter. He's got a lump of clay. Bam, he shapes that thing. He just smashes it back down. Am I really ready for that? If I'm honest, not always. I feel like I have the ability to make my own decisions, and I don't need anybody changing me. I'm just fine the way that I am. So I just wanted you guys to think about that. Think about how, as we talk about commands in the next chapter, be kind of conscious of what you command God to do. I think that he is ready, willing, and able to follow through on those things that we're telling him to do if they are about what his work is in the world, if they are about what he is trying to do, what he's trying to accomplish in his world. So think about that as we progress. Okay, so I'm going to pause it a second, get some things ready, and go on to the next slide. Hang on. Okay. Saquen, por favor, el vocabulario de lección 11. Vamos a aprender esta lista aquí, la tecnología número 34 for the next class. So I'm going to put some pictures up here. I'm going to say it. I want you to repeat it after me to practice pronunciation. Número uno es... I can get it to advance again. Here we go. Here we go. Las aplicaciones. Repitan las aplicaciones. Same in Spanish. You're going to find in Latin American countries the same aplicaciones you'll see that are pretty common. So things like Skype, things like Google, things like Excel files, things like I don't see Facebook on there, Twitter, I don't see those, but you're going to find that those are pretty common everywhere. Aplicaciones. Next one. La cámara digital, repitan. Y también la cámara de video, repitan. Really close to the English words. Notice that the word cámara has A's all the way across. There's no E in that one. Next one. Los canales, repitan los canales. The word canal looks a lot like the word canal. And think about it. What a canal does is it like brings things in, a channel by which you go through things, right? So canal. These are specific canales for, I think I Googled televisión en España, canales de televisión en España. So these would be the ones that would be typical to a Spanish broadcast. Next one. El cargador, repitan el cargador. Y por fin el cibercafé, repitan. All of you are wondering, what the heck is a cibercafé? If I'm a traveler and I don't have my own devices, I don't have my own technology with which to travel, I have to make use of one of these, a cibercafé. The cafe part, because you can probably order a few things, like have a cup of cafe while you are using your computers, but you stick your credit card into the tower, you are charged by the hour for using a cibercafé. Much less used in the last few years, just because everybody has access to these particular their devices, and people don't really need to go other places for those. But in the years prior, it was pretty common. So I've got some numbers there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, y 6. So I'd like you to put the pause button on and see if you can come up with what each of those numbers are. Número 2. Ask yourself, ¿qué es número 3? ¿Qué es número 2? ¿Qué es número 5? Practice those. Repeat those a few times. Pause now. Okay, un poco más. Sorry, I just paused it again. Here we go. Esta foto es la foto de el control remoto. Repitan. Okay, notice that those words just switch because remote describes what type of control it is. So el control remoto. Entonces tenemos más vocabulario. ¿Qué es? El correo de voz. Repitan, el correo de voz. Este es tu voz, your voice. So when it's the male of voice, that's what we have, correo de voz. Next one. Yeah, in the archives. El disco compacto, repitan. Así es, el disco compacto. Like I said, these things, I don't know the last time you maybe had one in your hand. Everybody downloads their music digitally, so yeah. Next one. El estéreo, repitan. El radio, repitan. Watch pronunciation. It's same word, but pronunciation is a little bit different. El radio. And then okay, big long word. El reproductor, a reproducer, what does it say? El reproductor de CD, repitan. A CD reproducer, right? So a CD player. I'm going to give you the numbers again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Try to get a few more touches with those words. Pause it now. Bueno, 3 más palabras de vocabulario. Uno es el reproductor de MP3. MP3 in Spanish, those 2 letters in that one number are going to be pronounced in Spanish. So el reproductor de MP3. Repitan. MP3. Okay, otro. El teléfono celular. Repitan. Okay, a lot of times it's referred to just mi celular, sometimes mi cel, mi teléfono. You can use a variety of combinations of those. Y uno más, el televisor, repitan. Televisor. 1, 2, 3. Pause, ask your partner what those, or ask yourself what those are. Give it a pause here for a second. All right, let's go on. I would like you to pause right now after I put these all up, and I'd like you to see if you can fill in those real quick before this, before the time is up. pause it and fill those in for me.